So how are you doing this afternoon?
I am marvelous. How are you?
I am also marvelous. I like that word.
My auntie used to always say that. You would ask her, "How are you doing?" She'd be like, "Marvelous, just marvelous." And I was
It's
like,
a
"Oh,
it's a good word to use, or like fabulous, you know? Switch it
yes,
up instead of just saying, "Yeah, I'm doing good."
yes."
So, Renee, you are a caregiver and a writer. So does that mean you have a book, or what do you do on the writing side?
The writing side, I do. Well, I've finished my book, and but I also write for other people as well. So, but I do have my own blog that I have as well. So, but I do write for others too. So
Okay.
it's fun. I'm all in the writing.
Yeah.
um, but I'm also a caregiver. My husband is partially paralyzed, so I help him, with his ADLs and things like that. So that's what I also do. I'm wearing a couple of hats, but it works. At least they're
Yeah.
stylish hats.
Yeah, that's nice. So your blog, what do you typically write about?
I write about personal development, just different things that I've been through in my life, certain things that I'm just like, hmm. Um, and there's actually been a process of things that I have had to unlearn over yeah, in life, and there's some things that I didn't realize that I was holding on to, because I was
Mhm.
like, well, this is how I've always been, but it wasn't healthy. So I use a lot of that in my writing to be like, okay, you might want to steer away from this because I went that way, but you may not want to go this way. I'm going to tell you about what happened to me.
Yeah.
And so people can be like, okay, I might need to actually go that way, or just to, people might be like, well, wow, okay. Because I try to be transparent in anything that I do,
Mm.
um, to kind of show like it doesn't always have to be one way, it can always be a different way.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you create legacies with the written word. Can you expand on what that means?
What that means is for a lot of people, well, for me too, when you write a book, it goes out into the world, and even if people may not necessarily remember your name, but they'll always remember a certain book that that may have resonated, and that's a legacy because it started a change within not just you, but the person that's reading it, and then it goes into somebody else. It kind of creates a domino effect.
Mm.
But I think there's a lot of legacies that start with just somebody saying, I want to write a book. And this is what I want to do. We wouldn't have known about um, wow, about Harry Potter if J.K. Rowling hadn't sat down and had the idea and she wrote a book about it.
Yeah.
And that look at how much that has changed because people are like, oh, and it's kind of spun into so many different adventure books just because she had the idea just to say, okay, I'm going to write this book. So
Yeah.
that's why I think a lot of legacies are created is with the written word.
Yeah. And your um Facebook username, what is it again? It's like Renee
It's
um
Renee God's girl.
Renee God's girl. Yes, Renee God's girl. So does that indicate so you're a Christian?
I am.
And so how does that play a role with your writing?
Oh, I'm an encourager. I am. I love to uplift. I love to kind of be like, okay, this is because I do believe that life is positive. I do. Even though there's some things that happen that it may not necessarily feel good, but something positive always comes out of things, and things always do. I truly believe that. I don't think all life is ugly. There has to be some sunshine that's going to come out of even some of the darkest things. I've had plenty of rainy days myself, but something great always happened out of it. Either a relationship with someone or even me getting closer to who God is to me. So something good always did happen. I just
I
had to look
agree.
and kind of smell and really smell the flowers, really.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely believe that, God's sovereign. He has a plan, and whether we see it as good or not, it is to glorify God in the end, and so it is good.
That's
So yeah,
right.
I definitely agree with you there.
There's a lot of sunshine. Only sunshine happens after it rains. So, and it makes us appreciate the sunshine.
Yeah,
It really does.
yeah. And it's crazy how over whether it's months or years, how we see an event that we thought was bad happen. We see how, oh, if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't have like this opportunity now, or similar.
It's, I think one thing is in life, you learn, um, sometimes what tries to defeat you, and you realize what is in you all along. I truly, truly believe that because, I had it to where sometimes where I was like, my cousin used to, she used to always she called me brave all the time because she would say, Renee, you just so brave. You just so brave. And the funny thing is I told her, I said, I never thought that I was brave until that, I guess that was the only choice that I had. Until I was like, well, kind of have to get out there and go for what you want. And that does require a little bit of being brave and a little bit of being bold.
Mm,
But certain situation kind of brought that out of me because I didn't think I was that way, but it was there all along. So that
yeah,
works.
yeah. And so you
Really.
wanted to talk about the masks that we have. And so can you explain for the audience what that means? Like, what is a mask that we might put on ourselves or that might be put on us?
You know, I was talking about masks because with some people, I will say this: there have been some people that I've met that what you see is what you get. How they act with you is how they act with everybody. But there
Mhm.
are some that they have a representative. They have somebody where they're like, oh well, I can't be like this. I have to constantly be like this in order to fit in order to for people not to kind of look at me weirdly, not to, and they're not being true to who they are. And yeah, there are layers. I always agree with Donkey from Shrek, how Donkey would say like, "Oh, you got layers." I used to always really agree with that because I was like, I know we all have layers to our personality, but we don't have to hide who we are. Um, so I believe that there are a lot of people they do a lot of serious hiding, and I can say that because I did that for a while. You want to be accepted. You want to be cool. I think especially as a teenager, especially even in my 20s, I was like, yeah. And then I was like, man, this is making my head hurt trying to please other people. And I realized I am who I am. Um, who is going to like being around me is gonna like being around me because of who Renee is, not because of some person I feel like I have to pretend to be. Because if
Mhm.
you're constantly hiding yourself, then how are you living in your truth? And how are you going to how's that going to look like in your business for people that have a business? How's that going to look in your relationships with your friends and your family, or even
Mhm.
people that you meet off of the street? How is that going to look when you're not even being honest with yourself?
Mhm.
And it took a long road for me to get there, Mia. I will tell you, it took a road for me to get there. But now that I'm here, I'm like, some people be like, Renee, you're silly. I'm like, I know. But that's part of me. I'm not gonna hide that. And if you don't like me, okay, that's fine. I'm not gonna lose sleep though. I'm still gonna be myself. I'm not gonna be mean or ugly towards anybody because I don't want to be mean or ugly towards anybody. I believe in being and planting seeds of kindness. I believe that.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna be, if I'm gonna be silly, I'm gonna be silly. If I come up with a catchphrase off the top of my head and I say it and someone's like, you better believe I am gonna say it because it's there. I'm gonna say it. But there's a importance in living your truth and knowing who you are and not being afraid to put that out there because people can always spot if you are being fake. You
Mm-hmm.
can People can always spot. It's kind of like when you see a fake purse or something, you already know it's a fake. Look at it and you're like, that's not real. People can spot that, but you should want to be yourself, not just for others, but for you. Because I wouldn't want anybody being fake around me.
Mm-hmm.
I want only real people. I don't want any representatives. So I believe that trying to hide yourself, you're hiding the finances that you want to come in. You're not, if you're not living your truth, then how can you expect anybody to want to work with you on a
Yeah.
business standpoint if you're just like, oh yeah, and that's not it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's living your truth. I'm so in that lane of just being like, okay, all right, Renee, this is you. This is what you want to do. Yep. All right. So, but knowing who I am first, so I
Mm-hmm.
can um shine my light the way I need to. I can't interfere with your light because your light is all yours. You have a beautiful light about you. I don't want to take your light. I want to, when I come into the room with you, we want to make it grow because we both have our own individual light. I'm not here to try to bury it. I want us to shine. That's what we're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that your relationship with God has changed? Like you said, you struggled before with having like these masks and you've been, just trying to be yourself. Do you think your relationship with God has impacted that at all?
Absolutely. Because
How?
God sees me, God sees me who I am, even when I was like, even when I was like, man, I don't know if I want it, but God always saw me. Um, and he loved me just who I am. So when you have a love like that, then it inspires you to be more, not to be any less. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I would definitely say, yeah, my relationship with God is definitely the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Um, it's and I know sometimes God's still probably looking at me like, and I'm like, God, I'm sorry, still help your daughter.
Hey, we're all still sinners, right?
I'm like, help me. but, but I'm grateful because I'm still here to be able to get things right. Because if I wasn't, then we couldn't be talking right now. Lord,
Yeah.
and if we were, that would really be weird. Um, but yeah, God changes everything. At least for me, that
Yeah. Yeah, I think that when you truly accept him into your life and you start following him and following his will, then that's just a natural byproduct.
absolutely no more mess.
So you said your truth, and in today's world that means a lot of different things, how people say like your truth and there is no truth or whatever. So how would you define that in the I guess in the way that you put it? How would you define it?
Hmm. When you live your truth, then you're no longer you're no longer lying to yourself. I think that a lot of times we're like, oh yeah, we kind of paint that beautiful picture, like, yep, everything's great.
All
Everything
smiles.
everything's this and everything's that, but on the inside, we could be quietly dying
Hmm.
because we're just like, oh, but when you accept your truth, that means you know who you are. You know, if somebody will come up to me and say, Renee, I know you said such and such. I'll be like, no, I didn't say that. That doesn't even, I know what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're living in your truth, that means you're not lying to yourself. And if you're not lying to yourself, that means you're not lying. Hopefully, you're not lying to others about who you are. You're facing the music, even if you're wrong about something, you're still facing the music. You're not like, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. You know, I've always been like this." That means you're not walking in your truth. You're blaming other people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just being truthful with yourself first.
Yeah, that's really good. You explained that very well.
Oh, thank you. I was hoping I was making sense.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. You made sense.
Thank you.
So how have you seen, like in different areas of your life, how have you seen embracing your truth change your life in different aspects, like relationships, health, your career, or would you say like it's the same in all those areas?
Accepting, you said accepting my truth, right?
Yeah, yeah. Because like for example, there's there's a difference between like a mask and a hat. You know what I mean? Like we wear different hats. Like for example, I don't act the same as I do with my husband as I would with you. You know what I mean? Like we have different hats, but that's not necessarily a mask. It's just, you know, you're a little different with people that you have different relationships with. And so how can you see defining your truth in different areas of your life, like those?
Well, when I am like for me, when I'm with my husband, I'm just, I'm extremely goofy. I am. I'm extremely goofy. And he's just like, but of course, when I'm sitting down and I'm writing something for someone, literally um, their mind or the things that they've said to me is right here in my brain. And so when I'm talking or when I'm writing something I'm writing it with them in mind. And I'm just like, okay, all right, I feel like they would say it like this or like this. So I still have that attention to detail because even when my husband's like, well, I don't remember this. Well, yeah, I do because I still have that attention to detail. There's those parts
Yeah.
that permeate each and every part of my life. But in my writing, of course, I use it a little bit more so because I am working on a masterpiece for somebody else.
Mhm.
Whereas my husband is just like, oh, okay, all right, I just kind of say it, and he's like, all right, that's good, we'll do that. Um, but there's certain parts of me I still am I like to be exact. I do. Um, I like to, I'm not necessarily humorous with my clients. I'm not necessarily humorous when it comes to that. When I'm talking to them, I'm very more light and low and carefree, but I'm very like, okay, tell me exactly what you're interested in doing. I want to know where you want to go with this. What's your point? So I
Mm.
can, but there's still that meticulousness. There's still that, like, okay, all right, this is how I need to flow. I'm still a very flowing person, even if I'm just by myself or if I'm writing for somebody. I just like to flow. If I feel like I need to go over here, I'm gonna do it. But if I
Mm.
don't, I need to go over here, I'm gonna do it. So I think those parts of me are some situations bring it out a little bit more. It's still there, but some of them make sure maybe it might bring it out a little less, but it's still a part of me. Um, I'll always be a wife and I'll always be a writer. Of course, there's sometimes where I take that hat off, especially when I'm with my husband because I'm
Yeah.
just wife with him. But if he says, Renee, I got an idea, I want to write something, okay. Then that hat of wife is still on, but then that hat of writer, I'm like, okay, all right, what are we doing?
Hmm.
I'm like, you asking for this because you know what I'm about to do. So, but yeah, there's a little bit more. I can't, yeah. But at the end of the day, I'm just Renee. Did I wrong? I might have just rhymed, but yeah. So at the end of
End
the
of the
day, I'm
day,
Renee.
Renee.
Yeah, I am. So yeah, I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, it
Oh,
did.
cool
Yeah,
beans.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so
But
you,
I'm still a character.
hey, it's good. That's good. We all need to be our own character. That's our truth, after all. So you like to encourage others to do what's possible. And do you do that through your writing or just everyday life? Both?
A little bit of both. I do that in my writing, because I write daily. But if I'm not writing, then I'm doing a live, maybe on my Facebook where I'm like, yeah, blah blah blah. This is kind of what I've been learning, and I'm kind of at a different stage because I'm in my late 30s. So I'm just like, okay, this is, I'm constantly putting different things out there. So I'm like, okay, did you think about this? So yeah, I think I do a little bit of both, but my
Mhm.
writing probably people can always go back and read it. So it's probably the biggest thing. Not to say that people can't go back and read my and watch my lives, but maybe my writing might hit a little bit more. So
Mhm.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
So,
deeper,
yeah,
more thought
yeah.
out.
Yeah, because sometimes when I do lives, I just kind of fly off of whatever is kind of off what's on the top of my head. What usually when I write, it's literally something that's probably been stirring around for a little bit, and I'm like, oh, that's really good. I need to do something with this because there's an idea right here, and I need to just go with it because this could be really, really good.
Yeah.
Writer's life.
So do you have like general encouraging tips? Or does it depend on the situation more?
I will say, trust the process. Trust the process. Um, I truly think that our yeah, I'm a millennial, so our generation really wants has like a microwave mindset. We okay, put in a microwave, we should be there. And sometimes we want things rushed. And sometimes when things are rushed, they're not very good.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they're really not. We have to trust the process. Your path is not going to look like mine. Mine's not going to look like yours. But guess what? You're going to get to your destination just like I'm going to get to mine. We have to trust the process because we have to continue to hang on, especially when we know it's something that we are supposed to do. You have to. It's so important that you trust the process because you're gonna get there.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe there are some things that you need to learn first so that when you do get there, you'll be like, okay, you won't squander it. You'll actually know what to do because you went through the process.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still learning that. But yeah, that's probably one of the things that I would say, and to make sure you're loving yourself. Self-love is so important. It took me a long time to start loving myself,
Mm-hmm.
a long time. But when I did, and I finally got the hang of it, love yourself. Make sure that you are doing things for yourself. Um, I had a job where they said, make sure you're taking time off. She would look at how much time off we had, and
Oh
if it
wow.
was too much, she would say, "You need to take the day off. You need to," and she would tell us, "You can't pour out of an empty vessel. You need to make sure don't have so many hours where what I'm saying where you have not missed a day." And she was like, like your job will still be here. You need to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. And I was like, and I learned that from her, and that was one of the best. And she was in charge of our entire department. and she did not play when it came to having time off. Do not kill yourself working these jobs because
Mhm.
they will find somebody else the minute that you leave here. So you make sure that you take care of yourself. I'm not I can't give my all to a job and now I'm walking around here and I need to be enjoying my life as much as possible. So please, self-care and self-love, please.
Mhm.
Whatever you do, please. But yeah, that's well, that was two. So yeah. But yeah, love yourself and watch out for the people that do not truly love you, that just like being connected to you because they know of the blessings that you carry. Be
That is
real careful.
good. That's
Be
really good.
real careful. Be real careful. Because some people, I told the guy one time, I said, I said, I think that you like the idea of me, but not so much me. I told the guy that one time. I said, yeah. So I think you like what you feel like I could do for you, but not necessarily me.
Mhm.
Real careful. Because some
Yeah.
people want to be like, ooh, look at Mia. She's got so many blessings. I need to be on her so I can get so I can be a leech and get her and get the blessings. People that are truly for you, even if you don't have a cent to your name, they will still love you. They will still be like, come on, I'm still coming over. They don't care because they have been assigned to help you to go higher.
Mhm.
Not every person that is in your life wants you to go higher. So you have to make sure you are watching who is trying to make you go higher or who is trying to make you go extremely low.
Yeah.
Be real watchful of those. Whew. Real watchful.
Yeah, and I think that's something else that's something that convicts you as a Christian versus a non-Christian. Because, like, in the business world, for example, it is pretty much just made up of like, oh, you need to get as many connections. Like it's a big thing is like you want good connections so you can grow your business and get more money and whatnot. And that's not always a bad thing, but when your focus is on like the money and you're willing to, throw others under the bus, that's when it's not a good thing. And so, but as a Christian, we do, we are called to love others, like truly love them. Don't just like, oh yeah, I like you because you can benefit me some way. That's no, like that's just you're focusing on yourself. You need to be selfless. But also don't let others take advantage of you either. And I think that's a big thing that Christians struggle with is, I want to love them and I want to be here for them, but at the same time, like they are hurting me to an extent.
Mhm. Yes. And remember, God does not want you. If people are hurting you, you have to choose between yourself and that person because God does not want anybody to be hurt. But you have to make sure. Sometimes I believe that God be trying to get us away from the very people, but we try to keep them around until until they can literally hurt us to the point so bad that that bridge is burnt to a crisp.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, that's
sometimes
happened
God
to me
wants to get to
before.
that point earlier, but we were like trying to hold on.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned that lesson too.
Yeah, it's a lesson that we don't want to learn, but it's beneficial when it is learned.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah. Well, is there any last things that you want to say?
Just continue to stay true. Stay true to who you are all at all times. Do not let this world change your smile. In fact, why don't you let your smile change the world? I
That's
love to
good.
smile. I love to
Me
smile.
too. I love smiling too. Well, do you want to tell the audience where they can find you?
Yes. You can find me. Wow, boy, am I on all social media networks, but on you can look at my writing at Queen Reliable Renee on Facebook. And Renee is Renea. Or
Yes.
you can follow me on my Facebook page, Renee God's Girl Linsome. So yeah, God's Girl and Renee is all connected. So, but yeah, you
Yeah.
can look for me, and I'm always putting something on there.
Awesome. And your Facebook lives, you said too.
Yes, I'm
Get into
always live
those.
on my Renee God's Girl Linsome page.
Okay, awesome. I will also put all your information in the show notes. People can easily click them to get to you.
Oh, great. I'll give you my link tree then too.
Okay, sounds good. All right.
Please.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, you guys.
All right, bye.